Good afternoon, Rotarians. And yes, you're not looking at President Jason Chaco. I'm past President Denver Peacock, and I'll be subbing in for Jason today, who is a little bit under the weather and sends his regrets. So welcome back from a busy and eventful holiday weekend. We want to thank past President Greg Hatcher for the shuttle today. Hopefully all of you were able to enjoy that on this cold winter day. So thank you, Greg, for serving our members as you always do and making the meeting a little bit easier for all of us to get in and out of the Clinton Center. And now I'd like to kick things off and ask for past President Kenny Gibbs to lead us in the four-way test, prayer, and pledge. Kenny?
Thank you, past President Peacock. I gotta just take a moment here, get a few flashbacks, a little land yap in my brain. So let's start with the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Let's bow in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this lovely day, the crispness of the coolness that we are being provided to, Lord, and we hope that everyone's warm and not being affected by the elements, Lord. We ask that you will be with us today and let us receive a blessing and message from this program, which is a phenomenal program. And we ask that you'll bless this food and be with the rest of our families, wherever they may be at this time. And Lord, in your name, amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Speak up.
Thank you, Kenny, and thanks to our greeters, Ashley Fondren, Tiffany Mazzella, Don Cole, and Kristen Nicholson. Thanks for always making everyone feel so welcome. I also want to say a special thanks to our esteemed Sergeant at Arms, Rachel O'Neill. Thank you, Rachel, for your continued service to Club 99. Next, I'd like for Lori Arnold to welcome our guest, and then our new member chair, Ross Burnett, to introduce our newest member to Club 99. Lori?
I didn't expect an applause for that. I'm going to take that. Okay, so I do want to give some applause here at the end of this announcement about who our guests are and our visiting Rotarians. So as I say your name, if you could please stand with your friend who brought you here today. We have Jeff Pratt, Brendan Kelly, Jeff Hankins, Landon Crancer, and they are guests of Mitch Bettis, and Ross Aoyoung, who is a guest of Denver Peacock. And then we want to also welcome our visiting Rotarians. We have Sean Johnson, Steve Maxwell, Patrick Matthew, Justin Bank, Royce Duncan, Ginger Burton, all from the Little Rock Metro. And we also have Gabby Holland from the Bentonville Noon Club. So let's give them an applause.
Just a couple things for you, bring Bill Benton up here as a new member. If any of the visiting Rotarians find an interest in transferring clubs, we'd be happy to have you. Just come find me afterwards. Another thing, we've got a committee membership committee meeting over at Southern Tail Brewery right after this until we're finished. It'll be a fun time. And then a big congratulations to all the committee members and everyone who has brought a new member. We're at our 20th new member of the year so far, so thank you all. You deserve a round of applause. Okay, so no better way to introduce Dr. Bill Benton to our club than to read his high profile written by Rachel O'Neill. So everyone please welcome Dr. Benton. I'm just going to say a few snippets. None of these are original thoughts, so pardon me if I pause here a couple times. Drawn to the high-stakes field of neonatal intensive care by a taste of adrenaline, Dr. Bill Benton pioneered treatments that avert risk and prevent stress for the tiniest preemies. Bill Benton grew up the son of a daredevil. Young Bill would jump into the passenger seat of his dad's Piper Club airplane, strap on his dad's WW2 era headset, and off they'd go. Landing the Cub was the biggest thrill. The tiny two-seater plane is a tail dragger, and the pilot cannot see over the nose. Today, though no longer a daredevil like his father, Benton still yearns for the adrenaline rush he got in his childhood. Today, he works in life or death environment as a neonatologist at Baptist Health Medical Center in Little Rock. He went to LSU at Baton Rouge and transferred to Duke University, one of the top medical schools in the country, and he says he shockingly got in. He was awarded a fellowship in its Department of Chemistry, where he studied membranes. He returned to Louisiana because its medical schools were less expensive and was accepted at LSU Shreveport. During his pediatric rotation, he discovered the field of neonatology. I looked through those swinging doors into this very brightly lit, very noisy environment. He says it looked like there was a lot of adrenaline there, and that was attractive to me. He had peered inside a neonatal intensive care unit. I walked in, and there's ventilators going off and alarms and all this crazy stuff going on, and I was like, I'm home. This is physics, it's chemistry, it's life, it's death, it's everything. Everything that I have been doing that I loved, it's all here in one place. He completed his internship and residency at LSU Shreveport with an emphasis in neonatology. Next, he completed his fellowship at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. Benton met his future wife, Beth, at LSU Shreveport, where she was a pediatric nurse. He says it was love at first sight. She was behind the counter mixing up meds, and I was out there with a group of doctors. We were making rounds. I'm sure they were just cutting it up, and just looked back there, and she looked underneath that med cabinet for a second, and you just looked at each other. The rest is history. After they were married, Beth suggested moving back to Little Rock to be closer to family, and so they did. Wise man listening to his wife. To someone who doesn't know Bill, she would describe him as steady and calm and completely dependable. His greatest attribute is that he has a tremendous heart that cares so much for his patients, his coworkers, his family, and his friends. Through Pediatrics Medical Group of Arkansas, Benton works at Baptist Health in the neonatal ICU, NICU for short. He was very instrumental. This is something that we should all be proud of as a new member of Club 99, and the $3 million renovation of the NICU, where a couple of leading scholars, including Bill himself, discovered that conditions would be better off to have a baby emulating that of the womb compared to bright lights, exposure, speakers, so on and so forth. So he went with it. Unsure at the time, the nurses went all in with him. And now we've got one-on-one care that you see today at the NICU there. Dr. Ricardo Sotomoro, also a neonatologist, was the second doctor who was influential in hiring Benton. He called him obsessive, but in a good way. He's loyal to the end, Sotomoro says. If you establish a relationship with him, he will swim across the ocean for you. That's one of his best qualities. The couple have 4 children. Mitchell is a third-year med student. Nathan is a data engineer. Emily, a technical writer, and the mother of 4 of their grandchildren. And Caroline is the mother of 3 grandchildren. Thankfully, none of their clan needed to be in the NICU. In a group email, children described their father as loving, caring, amazing teacher about life and career, great role model, encouraging, involved, fun, great memory maker, and a great provider. Benton is not a daredevil like his father, but certainly takes the crew on hikes and outdoor outings. He says he's had enough near-death experiences as a kid. We take him out west a lot. We took them whitewater rafting as a family, had some great vacations. Nothing as extreme as his dad took him on, which I'll let him share some of those stories. His friends say he places all of his energy into what matters most to him. He's a character, and he has all sides to his personality, but the biggest heart of anybody, and he brings that to the patients, and he brings that to the staff. He may have some rough edges to his personality, so they say, but he always brings it with heart, and always brings it with empathy, and always brings it with a strive for excellence. Everybody loves him. Please help me welcome Dr. Bill Benton to Club 99.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Ross and Bill. We're thrilled to welcome you to Club 99. Congrats on 20 new members, Ross and the membership committee. Congratulations. Y'all keep it going. Also, welcome to our Little Rock Metro members. Thanks for making us aware of your annual pancake breakfast. It benefits the food pantry. It's at St. Mark's on February the 1st, 8 to 11. Come to this middle table to learn more. I'm sure they would be glad to sign you up and get you plugged in. Thank you for being part of our meeting today. Special thanks to everyone who came for the January book club meeting hosted by past President Natalie Gadati and board member Julie Brandenberger. And thanks to committee chair Sarah Bennings for always keeping the calendar full. The next meeting will be in March, hosted by Steve Strassley. The Ottenheimer Committee will meet immediately right after today's meeting, and to mark the 50th anniversary of the war in Vietnam and to further ties between our two countries, 2 young men from Vietnam will serve as our Ottenheimer Scholars this August. We will meet as a committee to select the scholars and 1 alternate. So if you'd like to be part of this committee or help us out this summer, please join us immediately after with co-chair Cindy Van Veck-Hovent and T. Martin Davis. We'd love to have you. And as Ross mentioned, there will be a new membership committee meeting just down the street at the Southern Tale Brewery. They're asking new committee members and those interested to join them as well. And I'm going to be honest, Cindy and T. Martin, that sounds like a whole lot more fun than our meeting. So it's great too, by the way, if you haven't been down there. Also, a quick update from our service chair, Dan Parker. Thanks to everyone who jumped in so quickly to fill up the service opportunity tonight at the Arkansas Food Bank. Hopefully you'll have a wonderful evening. President Chaco and Chair Parker are experimenting with several smaller, more frequent service projects in the second half of this year. So keep an eye on the calendar for more opportunities to serve our great community. The next planned event will be the citywide cleanup day on March 8th. Our team will be captained by Club 99er and City Director Cappy Peck. So be ready to register quickly. And don't forget the new member orientation meeting on Monday, January the 27th. So of you 20 new members, this is one of the quickest ways to start checking off your requirements to get your blue badge. So don't miss out on being more oriented to Club 99. Next week, we're excited to welcome Mark Bremer, the Vice President of Industrial Programs for Dassault Falcon Jet. He will be here to give us an update on their plans for their 50th anniversary and the $100 million expansion right here at the Little Rock Port. Don't miss next week's informative meeting. And to continue with President Chaco's Rotary Year theme of Global Hearts, Local Hands, Chaco has decided to use his President's Minute to highlight Rotary clubs around the world. There are more than 46,000 clubs worldwide, and we are learning about a new club each week, from history, membership, or special projects they support. And this week, we'll continue to march up the list of the largest clubs in the U.S. Up next is number 9, Louisville. They are the largest and oldest club in Kentucky, founded in June of 1912 as the 45th club in the world. They currently have 368 members, and while their origins were focused on fellowship and making Louisville a community a better place to live, it seems their reach has expanded well beyond the city borders to international projects and a very healthy membership in Rotary International's Paul Harris Fellow Program. As part of Rotarian Dr. Burt Williams' bequest in 1990, he spelled out a huge donation of $844,000 from his will to fund not only local projects in Louisville, but international recognition through the Paul Harris Program. To date, the club has more than 200 Paul Harris recipients through the Williams Legacy. Another $600,000 gift from deceased member Theodore Burke in 1999 kept the local foundation thriving and allowed the club to do club-to-club partnerships all over the world, from setting up 6 new dental clinics in Panama, Ecuador, and Nepal, as well as a dialysis clinic in Nepal. They have not forgotten their local pledges. They started a Leadership Fellows program to identify, inspire, and connect the next generation of community leaders, and are currently supporting the West Louisville Housing Initiative, a $5 million project to provide full mortgages for first-time homebuyers in West Louisville neighborhoods that otherwise can't qualify for a mortgage loan. The club has truly leveraged its strong membership into international impact. And for that, we will toast the Rotary Club of Louisville, Kentucky. So please raise your glass and join me for a toast. I told Chaco we're going to do this, so cheers everyone. Thank you. And now I'd like for fellow Rotarian Debbie Davis to introduce and moderate today's program. Debbie, will you join us?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm very pleased to bring this presentation to you today. We have Ballet Arkansas with us, and I'm going to introduce our guests, Michael Fothergill and Dr. Ann Patel. Michael was introduced to dance as a student at the Betty Hill Dance Studios in Des Moines, Iowa, furthering his training under the guidance of Robert Thomas and Miyoko Kato at the Robert Thomas Dance Center. His studies continued on full scholarship at the Milwaukee Ballet, Boston Ballet School, and ultimately at the School of American Ballet. Michael completed his training at the American Ballet Theater and embarked upon a performing career that spanned 2 decades. His artistic pursuits took him across Asia, Europe, and the United States, performing leading roles in the classics. He performed extensively throughout the US, Europe, and Japan as a principal guest artist and was a member of the Charleston Ballet Theater, City Ballet of San Diego, Milwaukee Ballet, and Alabama Ballet, among others. While employed in Japan, Michael was awarded the prestigious title of Artist of Extraordinary Merit, a seldom granted honor. Michael retired from performing in April of 2017 and was appointed as the Executive and Artistic Director of Ballet Arkansas the following July. As Executive and Artistic Director, Michael oversees all aspects of Ballet Arkansas's professional company and its affiliated school, the Ballet Arkansas School of Dance, which he co-founded with his wife, Catherine, in August of 2022. In fewer than 5 years, Michael has transformed the organization's vision and programming, eliminated its debt, and quadrupled its gross operating budget to exceed $1.8 million. Today, the organization is ranked among the largest 75 ballet companies in America by the Dance Data Project and has been twice named Best Performing Arts Organization by the Arkansas Times. The organization's innovative pandemic-era holiday programming garnered national attention from CBS, and its steady growth has been profiled by Point Magazine and Broadway World in recent years. In addition to his work at Ballet Arkansas, Michael is a sought-after choreographer whose work has been performed professionally and academically across the United States and internationally in Iceland, Australia, France, Romania, Dubai, Spain, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Japan. His choreography for film was featured in Dance the Dream at 50, an international documentary produced by acclaimed filmmaker Richard Kars. Over 7 seasons, Michael has created several full-length productions for Arkansas audiences, including Dracula, Sleepy Hollow, The Great Gatsby, The Nutcracker, Wonderland, Alice's Epic Adventure, Cinderella, and Carmen, all of which received rave reviews. In recognition of his business acumen, he has received accolades such as being named one of the top 100 professionals in Arkansas and one of the top influencers by Arkansas Money and Politics magazine. He was introduced into Who's Who in America in 2022, and Soiree magazine further acknowledged his impact by naming him as one of the 25 men on a mission statewide in 2023. In his spare time, he doesn't have a lot of spare time, Michael is an avid runner and freelance nonprofit consultant. He enjoys music, traveling, and spending time with his family and friends. Please help me welcome Michael to the stage. Now, Dr. Ann Schneider-Patel, she grew up dancing in Pueblo, Colorado. She spent summers dancing with Ballet West in Snowmass, Colorado, and with the Pacific Northwest Ballet School. While ballet was a passion, so was science. She attended Creighton University and graduated with a biology degree. From there, she attended medical school at the University of Health Sciences in Kansas City and graduated in 2004. She completed her family practice residency and board certification in 2007 and went on to practice emergency medicine and private practice in Columbus, Ohio. Ann and her husband, Ashay, moved to Little Rock in 2011 when he accepted a job at Arkansas Children's Hospital. They have 3 children, Devin, Annalise, and Kieran, who Ann homeschools. Ann joined the Ballet Arkansas Board of Directors in 2022 and became president in 2023. Ann believes in the transformative power of dance and the importance of giving back to young dancers by volunteering with Ballet Arkansas and helping promote dance within our community. Let's welcome Dr. Patel as well.
Yep.
Okay, now let's see if I can get the clicker to work. I'm having trouble with the slide. We're coming back on now? Okay, we'll give you a minute to work on that. And Michael, I'm going to start off with you. Ballet Arkansas has recently celebrated its 46th anniversary. And as I just mentioned, is now ranked among America's top 75 ballet companies. Tell us, what does it take to achieve this status and this honor?
Well, essentially, ballet companies, there are about 800 of them in the United States. And we go through an assessment process whenever we apply for federal funding. So oftentimes you might assume that would come from National Endowment of the Arts. And they rely on data firms to take a look at the funding that they're giving us, how much of that funding is really reaching the impact that we claim to be reaching. In other words, our audience is growing. Are we providing children and adults with cultural resources that we need to be providing them as an organization our size? They also look at what kind of repertory we're bringing to the region and what kind of quality of dancers that we have in our company. And so on that note, we're in the middle of audition season right now where dancers from all over the world will seek employment with different organizations. And we employ 16 professional company dancers over the course of a 30-week contract. For 1 or 2 spots a year, we'll have 1,500 applicants that will apply from all over the world to come to Ballet Arkansas. And so that's a big part of how they assess where we're at is how desirable of an employer are we? What kind of repertory will the dancers get to do when they come here? And Ballet Arkansas does perform many of the same repertory works that you'll see at New York City Ballet or Boston Ballet, much bigger markets. So that's a combination of how we're applying the funds and how that translates into the number of people that those funds directly provide cultural resources to, and also what is the quality of the cultural resource that we're actually providing to our city.
Thank you. Well, you and Ann do such a fantastic job of leading the board and the organization, but we would be remiss if we didn't mention your wife, Catherine Fothergill. She's the Associate Artistic Director and leading a rehearsal right now. Can you tell us what Catherine's responsibilities are and how you all work as a team?
She tells me what to do most of the day. But honestly, we split artistic programming right down the middle. Both of us danced together. We worked extensively both as educators and performers, so we each bring kind of that side of the coin to the table. She manages our community outreach and our community cast, so anything that the children are partaking in that are a part of our organization, she has a hand in, and is, as you mentioned, a big part of what you see on stage. She's currently working on Romeo and Juliet rehearsals with our leading ladies right now, so she's coaching them in a role that she performed many times and passing that lineage along to the leading ladies in the company.
Great. You also mentioned the 6 company artists. Tell us a little bit about the dancers that we currently have, and I know the audition season is upon us, what that looks like for 2025.
Sure. Well, we have 16 professional company artists that are with us this season, and it's a strategically small company, so everyone can perform a lot. That being said, we always engage individuals that we hope will stay with us for a long time, but there's turnover on occasion, and of course, as we continue to grow and expand programming, we want more bodies in the studio. So our overarching goal is to grow from 11, where we were in 2009, to 25 over the course of the next 7 years. That being said, we screen people pretty intensively, and it's a very easy process. Essentially, dancers from anywhere in the world can send us a video link of them performing in a professional level work of some kind with another company, or they need to send us a class. We do then look at those resumes, recommendation letters, the performance in the video, and we determine who is really a nice fit based on the movement aesthetic we see. And then we'll invite those individuals to take class with our company members to see kind of how they blend and match the aesthetic of what the company is currently comprised of. We do hold 2 open auditions annually, one in Chicago and one here in Little Rock, and the hope is that we'll see a greater number of people in Little Rock so they can come and experience what the city has to offer and get a feel for what their potential next home will be. But Chicago is also a very easy, commutable city, so that's a very in-demand location for auditions. But traditionally, we start receiving applications as soon as June of the previous year. I looked at my 682nd audition package this morning. So we are having a very demanding audition period this year. I think by the time we get to the end of our season, which finishes with our Midsummer Night's Dream performances in late April, we will have viewed nearly 2,000 people. So for maybe three spots that we're looking for the next year.
So the current dancers don't have to audition again?
No, as long as they are continuing to hit the artistic merits that we have set forth in their employment agreements each season and keeping up to par with the growth of the company, we hope to retain them.
Awesome. Okay, Anne, as the president of the board of directors, what are your goals and aspirations for Ballet Arkansas?
Well, when I first became president last year, I sat down with both Michael and Catherine, and we had a lengthy discussion about where the organization was, where it was at that particular moment in time, and where we want to see it go over the next number of years. And we made some long-term and short-term goals for the organization to help build a stronger infrastructure from which we can continue to grow and build our organization. And so in doing that, one necessity was to grow our board. At the time that I came in, I think we had about 12 board members, and that simply wasn't enough for the size of our organization and for our budget, and we really needed to grow it closer to 30. And so we were able to do just about that and more than double the growth of the board within 1 year's time. So I was really excited by that because the people that we brought in are all very passionate, Debbie included in that, and they are really wonderful ambassadors for the organization and help spread the word and build up excitement within the community around Ballet Arkansas. And I want to continue building more of that infrastructure as we continue to grow as an organization and as we bring in more company dancers.
Great. I see the slides are working now. If you don't mind flipping through them, I know we had one on the board.
Can I make one comment
Yeah.
about that first slide, though?
Oh, sure.
So when going back to your question about how we're ranked, That piece is by Sir David Bentley, and the piece was originally staged for the Royal Ballet of Covent Garden, and it was commissioned by the royal family back in the 1980s. And we are the only company in America of our size and budgetary scale ever licensed to present that work with original sets and backdrops from the Royal Ballet. So the company acquired the license because of the quality of our people, and that sort of repertory is what attracts the quality of those people continuing to come to the company. So I like to mention that because it is a hallmark work that a lot of companies want to perform and oftentimes, unfortunately, are denied due to the quality of the dancers or whether or not the budgetary size is there to support it. So we were really honored to be able to present that at Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts last April.
Great, thank you. I was going to say, I think we have a slide. We'll see if my clicker's working now. There we go. And there's Catherine, who we mentioned earlier. And there are the 16 company artists. And here's our slide on the board of directors. So my question was that I see a QR code on here, Anne. I think people can scan that and fill out a form if they are interested in learning more about board membership. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. We would love for anybody who might be interested to scan that, and I am more than happy to address any questions. If anyone wants to reach out to me at any point in time, I'm happy to introduce you more to the organization itself and see if anyone's entertaining the idea of board membership.
Yeah, it really is a great board. I've heard you refer to it as a working board. So tell us a little bit about what you look for in appointing a new board member.
Yes, I look for people who align with the mission and the vision of the organization. So really believing in furthering our mission and outreach into our community. And the community is not just here in Little Rock, but throughout all of Arkansas. There's a lot of areas that are in an arts deficit, and we certainly want to try to fill those voids when possible and to get appropriate funding to help us do so in that mission. I also look for time, talent, and treasure in all board candidates. And time, obviously, you know, we all have to invest a little bit of time into organizations. Here you all are here today. Talents, all of us on the board have very unique skill sets and unique talents. And some of us really love to get out and interact with other people and speak of the organization, and other people will get very creative and help in other ways, backstage or wherever the need may be. And treasure, I'm not speaking necessarily financially, although anybody in the nonprofit sector will certainly say financial treasures are always welcome and appreciated, but the treasure of having people do community outreach and to speak highly of your organization. And I know for like myself, I will talk to anybody about Ballet Arkansas. I will stop in a line at a grocery store and ask someone if they enjoy the ballet and if they want to come see a performance at some point in time. So I'm always happy to try to recruit and bring people in, even if it's just to be a patron and sit in the audience one time and decide it's not for them, that's great, or to bring someone into the organization very intimately and have them be a board member.
Great. Here's just some facts about Ballet Arkansas that you might not know. It was incorporated in 1978. As we've mentioned, it's a top 75 ballet company, 16 professional dancers. They present classics, masterworks of American dance, and original works by some of the world's most daring dance makers. More than 35 partnerships in education, social services, healthcare, government, and the arts. We have a season budget of just under $2 million, and again, zero debt. So let's talk about that. Michael, in the last 5 years, you've transformed the organization's vision and programming, eliminated the debt, and quadrupled the budget. How did you accomplish this?
Well, so when we came to Little Rock, as Debbie mentioned, you know, we retired, my wife and I, from performing, and we interviewed with the board after the previous artistic director saw a posting that we had announced our retirement, and then within the week we were sitting with board people. I felt like the board and the dancers had felt that Ballet Arkansas had a tumultuous past, and it has. There were a lot of mismanaged finances and programming that had shortfalls, and we just weren't reaching people where they were. And so when you look at an organization like that from a strategic standpoint or from a consultancy standpoint, you have to look at not what are all the issues, but where are there opportunities? And how hungry is the board, and how excited are the dancers about wanting to take on more programming? And so at the time, we had several other organizations that we were considering moving to lead those organizations. But we felt like there was such passion and excitement in the people, and the community was ready for it. And I think where there's always shortfall, there's oftentimes where there's reflection. And when we sat in front of that board, the board pretty much was ready to run. And so we proposed 14 solid objectives that we felt like needed to happen within the first year, and it happened within the first couple of months. And we've just been moving forward fast ever since. And so in the arts, you're quick or you're dead. You've got to be unique, innovative, but you also have to be meaningful. You can't program things that you want people to experience. You have to program things that compel people to experience it. And so it oftentimes for us required a looking through the lens at how can we change our programming to make it more exciting, less enigmatic for people, and more concrete. And then looking at dollars and cents, it's just a different business perspective brings about different results. And it happened to be at a time in Little Rock, coincidentally, where I think patrons were ready for a change. So things just happened to line up in a nice way, but we had full cooperation from the board. And it's been incredible, but of course, every board president prior to Ann, when we were kind of in the weeds when we first came, were also wonderful. So I think the experience working collaboratively, both inside and out of the organization, has been a big part of that success.
Great. And this slide shows us the annual reach of the ballet. With an audience of more than 50,000 and all of Central Arkansas performing arts in Little Rock, Ballet Arkansas has the largest audience age range. It caters to children up to adults. The numbers are really remarkable. Ballet Arkansas truly serves the entire state. It's the only professional ballet company in Arkansas. So how would you say the board has been instrumental in the growth of the organization?
So you look at these numbers, they are really remarkable, and that speaks to Michael and Catherine and their vision and artistic direction, and the board supports them. So by allowing us to do what we do as a board, it gets them more opportunity to do the artistic side of what this organization takes. And the product here speaks for itself. When people come and see a performance, they're completely captivated and drawn in and eager to see the next thing. I know for some families, it's a tradition to see the Nutcracker, but then when they learn about Romeo and Juliet, they're like, ooh, that's the next thing that I want to do. So we're gonna get tickets to that. And then it kind of snowballs from there. And then we have entire families wanting to come see things. So that's part of the outreach there. So I think part of the main objective for the board is for us to do our job so efficiently and so effectively that it allows the artistic, brilliant minds to do their job more efficiently as well. Also, a lot of community outreach with the board. I know a lot of our board members do help work with the community cast members, and so in a production such as the Nutcracker, we have over 200 community cast dancers ranging from 6, I believe, is the youngest age, all the way through 18. And so that's a lot of young children, a lot of families that are impacted, grandparents, extended families. So keeping that in mind and the center of our vision and our works as board members, I think is really instrumental.
We have a few slides here that kind of showcase the different styles of ballet. I believe that's Swan Lake in the top right, maybe Carmen in the middle. But they just will show you the range of, classical to modern. There really is truly something for everyone if you look at the schedule. Yeah, beautiful pictures. When we talk about that, Michael, and the different, classical and modern dance, and you're planning out, a year in advance, I don't know, maybe a few years in advance, but how do you plan what's going to be on the schedule, and how do you do a mix of choreography? What are you thinking when you're planning for a year?
The season has to touch on a lot of different things because the season has to be representative of the diversity we have in our community. Not everybody wants a narrative, and some people want something much more abstract and interesting and compelling in an interesting, unique way. So we focus on programs that provide a little bit of everything. We've got to have, of course, the holiday Nutcracker, which everyone would burn the building down if we were to cancel. But that being said, there's so many stories that classical ballet has to tell, and oftentimes those patrons are keen on seeing things like Swan Lake or Romeo and Juliet or Don Quixote or what have you. We have to make sure that we're challenging audiences to see the full dynamic of what the physical application of the body is. So we've got to do athletic things. We've got to do things that are unusual and different and that oftentimes allow for collaboration with musicians, visual artists, things that get people to look at dance a little bit differently. So I think you've got to find the appropriate timing of those sorts of things where you're not seeing a congestion of programming artistically from organizations presenting the same thing. So we work very closely with ASO, with AMFA, with our partners to try to identify timelines where if they're doing something contemporary, we can hit the classical. And we can try to find ways, so if you're a patron in Little Rock, there's a myriad of things to see that are not all the same. But that being said too, we oftentimes do think to how we can enrich from the inside out. So a lot of the repertory choices that we make are to ensure that our dancers are challenged and are staying at that level that we need them to stay at from a national appeal. So the ballet that I mentioned from Sir David Bentley, when we were approved for that, the New York Times did a mention about Ballet Arkansas. We had a national reviewer that flew from Philadelphia to watch the performance, and we had a Broadway World reviewer watch a Broadway show the night before and then come and sit in our audience the very next day. So it's not only representing what Little Rock audiences need to see, but it's representing Little Rock to the broader United States, and I think that's important. We have to make sure that looking outward in, people see something that's dynamic and interesting.
Great. Anne, tell us a little bit more about the School of Dance and the outreach programs that Ballet Arkansas participates in.
Sure. Ballet Arkansas has had multiple outreach programs for many years, and they had a School for Dance many years back, but then that dissolved. But we've been able to bring the School for Dance back in 2023, so it's still fairly new to us. But in that time, we've enrolled our student population to over 200 students that take regular classes with us, and those are Monday through Saturday, really. And we also have school programs for K through 12, where our company dancers will go into the schools and do workshops with students. We have a LEAP program. You can see the little frog there. That is more of a pre-K program that we can bring into the schools, and that's for expanding language and education and arts to the preschool age group. We also have this Dance for All Seasons. That's more of a senior program. We've had company artists go into long-term care facilities and work on just improving flexibility and mobility, because we know that that increases longevity, decreases rates of dementia, decreases fall risks, et cetera. So there's vast amounts of benefits to the young and old with our programming that we really take a lot of pride in. And it's not just a let's do this today type programming and the next person may come and do something different. This is actually very carefully planned programming with a set criteria and curriculum that we keep on file in the offices.
Okay, let's review what happened in 2024, and then you can kind of give us a taste of what's coming in 2025 as far as the season performances go, starting with Bold New Moves.
Sure. Well, Bold New Moves is a partnership that we presented with the North Little Rock Tourism, where we put up our portable, professionally sprung dance stage in the Argenta Plaza and presented a series of free performances where the company artists that are also choreographers within the company were able to create world premiere works on their peers.
Okay, and then we had Carmen.
Carmen was a world premiere contemporary telling of both Bizet's and Shedrin's visions for Carmen. If you're familiar with the score, Bizet was the original composer and Shedrin reorchestrated the work for dance. So we kind of merged the two and created a unique telling that was very visual art inspired at the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts. And we also featured Sarah Daly as our singer.
Okay, and then of course we had the Nutcracker. I believe this was a a record season, is that right?
Yes, we have had record seasons for all 8 years I've been here in terms of
Fabulous.
increasing the growth and increasing the expansion. And 2 years ago, we redid the entirety of the choreography and 90% of the costumes as part of our Nutcracker project. So we have a little more to do next year, and then the product will be completed.
Okay, and then the Seven Deadly Sins, that was in October and was also a fundraiser.
That was our fall fundraiser, and it was really an opportunity for our dancers to mingle with people at the rep and to get to know them at the start of the season. We did present a 25-minute exploration of the 7 sins on the rep stage, which was kind of fun, and it was narrated by Brett Eiler.
Okay, so this spring, Romeo and Juliet coming up soon. Tell us about that.
Yes, we have Romeo and Juliet Valentine's Day weekend, which is really just the perfect pairing with live music by the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra at the Robinson. I was just having a conversation about this right before we started the event, but for those that are big into classical music, the Prokofiev score has undergone a lot of revisions due to family members that are living of Prokofiev's that would like to see different things of his score. So this is the first time ever in Little Rock the score will be presented after that process, live with live orchestration and with intact choreography that suits that score. So it's been a very mammoth process going back several months with the family to get the licenses and the rights, but this will be a huge undertaking for our organization with a cast of over 100.
So community cast members, the symphony, and 4 performances?
4 performances, yes.
Okay, so everyone has a rose on their table. You can fight amongst yourselves, but I want somebody to take the rose home and invite your sweetheart to Romeo and Juliet. It would be a very romantic Valentine's weekend. I don't think you'll get turned down, I'm just saying. Okay, and then also this is kind of fun. There's a Little Rock Love Story campaign going on. Tell us more about that.
So the upper corner, that's me and my wife dancing Romeo and Juliet, and that was when we first started dating. So, or it was when I first started trying to date her, and I was getting rejected terribly during the process. But needless to say, we thought it'd be interesting to hear the love stories from Little Rock natives. So we've asked locals to share their love stories with us online, to tag us, and then the winners will receive 2 tickets to the Valentine's Day performance, a whole fair of Valentine's-themed accoutrement to go with it, and a backstage tour. And a side note, the 2 dancers pictured in the Romeo and Juliet roles are also dating. So an interesting facet is Catherine passing Juliet down to Sage, one of our company artists, and me passing this down to Aldrin, one of our company artists that are both in the same very predicament that we were in when we first started dating. So it's kind of a full circle, if you will.
Yeah, it's a great love story. Okay, and then next, coming up after Romeo and Juliet.
We have on the week of the 20th of April, we've got a whole festival of events planned showing 2 major performances. One sponsored by the Stella Boyle Smith Trust with the ASO Quapaw String Quartet entitled Nouveau. There's 2 gentlemen pictured there. I'm actually not supposed to be pictured there, so that was a mistake. But we're bringing a gentleman in from Denmark to set a world premiere and one from New York to set a world premiere, both that are ranked in the top 25 dance makers in the world today. So they're going to do some really interesting new work that's kind of a nouveau-themed meets modern-themed concert. In the same weekend, we have A Midsummer Night's Dream, which has a community cast of, I think, 50 to 60 or so, and that will be to the traditional score, Mendelssohn score, traditional choreography, kind of the balance to the really modern. So if you are keen to see both, you'll definitely see both sides of the coin, but we wanted to give people an opportunity to see both classical and modern in the same weekend.
Okay. And then also this spring is the gala and fundraiser, La Vie en Rose. Tell us a little bit about the gala, Anne. How's this going to be different?
This is exciting. So this gala will be different from any gala we've done in the past, and also probably much different than anything you can find from any other organization. We will have this at Robinson Center, and it's like a normal gala in the sense that you get dressed up and you come and you get to have a seated meal, and people talking, and of course, asking for funds. But in addition to that, we will have a full stage performance in the theater. So it will be a full event where you will be entertained by watching the dancers on stage with some beautiful choreography by Michael and Catherine, in addition to your more traditional gala with silent auction and just a beautiful evening overall. And I'm smiling at Ross Owing here because he's always so instrumental in making sure that night is absolutely magical and beautiful. So.
Yes, we're glad you're back to help with all these spring events, Ross. Okay, and I know there's a special honoree that evening. Tell us about this award.
Yes, so this year we're excited to honor Mandy Richardson and Jess Ardrey from Little Rock Soiree. They have been so kind to Ballet Arkansas and such great allies in helping us spread the word about our organization and our mission, and so no better way to thank them than to honor them at our gala this year.
Okay, we've covered a lot of information today. Anything else you two that I didn't ask about? No? Okay, well, participate in the Little Rock Love Story campaign, purchase your tickets for the spring season, and reach out to president@balletarkansas.org if you're interested in learning more about serving on the board. And I think we've left some time for Q&A.
Okay, Ross. And do you want to mention what we're doing?
Oh, and if you ask a question, you get a rose.
And Jason Chaco, who's coaching and advising us via Zoom, we're going to save one of these for you. All right, did you get one? Okay.
I have like a threefold question, I'm sorry. So can you say how many full-time staff members, not dancers, does the ballet employ? And with that number and an annual reach of over 60,000 individuals, how could individuals within this room get involved to help support the ballet so that this great asset is sustainable to survive and thrive in our city and state? And what is the current biggest need?
It's a great question that you wrote out. So there are 3 full-time staff members. My wife, myself, and a production manager, Colin, all who danced together in that very same production of Romeo and Juliet. Production entails all things that you see behind the scenes, and Catherine and I split all other things that you see. We are always on the hunt for board members, as Ann mentioned, and also for folks that are looking for positions in development, and community outreach, and also in patron management. So those are 3 areas of critical need for the ballet, where we're looking for the right person who has, as Ann kind of mentioned, the right ethos and passion for the arts, who's keen to put their feet in the ground and stay for a little while and really join the momentum of Ballet Arkansas. So the greatest need beyond staffing and obviously funding would be either board participation or partnership between businesses where we can further reach our impact. Thank you, Ross.
I just wanted to point out that there are 3 individuals that put on this massive production for each year and reaches 60,000 plus individuals, and that's pretty astounding from my perspective.
Any other questions? Where?
I just wondered if you ever considered taking your show on the road, so to speak, and do you go to Northwest Arkansas or other places?
That's a great question. The very first program that we presented when I was hired here was at the Walton Arts Center. And we were presenting Romeo and Juliet on tour the week after our performances here at the SCOCOS Performing Arts Center and Alma. And while those are regional touring hubs, our hope is to hit those first before branching out. We have had requests as far away as Detroit, Houston, St. Louis. It often comes down to the timing of how we can ensure that we're not losing a production in Little Rock to accommodate a production elsewhere. And while we want to make sure that we're serving audiences that are broader outside of the state, we don't want to lose the foothold that we have within the state. So the way to accommodate both of those things, and one of the processes that we're talking about a lot, is increasing the length of the season from 30 weeks to getting it closer to 40 weeks where the dancers are on contract, so that some of that touring can take place on the bookends of what you would see as our Little Rock season. And that's a work in progress.
One question over here, last question.
As a former winner of Dancing with the Stars, I have a question for you in regards to, it's important for those with special needs to be able to express themselves, and a lot of time it is done through dance. Do you have any programs to serve individuals with special needs?
We do. There's a program called Boundless, and the idea behind it is to encourage individuals in the way that they best can, with support from educators and the curriculum in which they use, as well as health practitioners and even caretakers, to try to find ways to increase communication, better understand range of motion in the body, learn collaboration, help with linguistic skills, and even sometimes scholastic processing. So we have kind of I guess, a malleable program that we look at each year to determine what the needs are. And of course, the schools can reach out to us directly on our programs through K through 12 website. And then we look at what the needs are and we custom cater all of those programs to where we can best serve.
I was just going to next say, one of your board members, Justin Bank, got 5 of us enlightened today.
I'm thrilled that he did.
Yes, thank you, Justin, for bringing the guests today.
All right. Hey, thank you so much, Michael, Ann, and Debbie. A beautiful vision for Arkansas, the Ballet Arkansas. Again, Justin, Ross, other board members, and we appreciate your support. Mitch, congrats to your honorees at your company. Great to see you, Rick, always. Glad you're doing better. Leah Norwine, one of your professional dancers from Virginia, I met recently, and I was just blown away that you literally have these professional dancers from all over the world, all over the country, who move their lives to be part of our community. And during my year as president, we talked about illuminating the rock. And I think that's just another example of how awesome it is in what you do every day in helping illuminate the rock as the Ballet Arkansas. So thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you for bringing Leah, who has married someone from Arkansas, and they're making this their home. I think it's spectacular. Great story. Also this year, President Chaco, as part of his presidential gift, he's commissioned local Arkansan Sage Holland, a master bead maker out of Mountain Home, to make a commemorative bead representing our Rotary Year of Global Hearts, Local Hands. Each of you will get one, and we hope it reminds you of the time you shared with us today at Club 99. Next week, join us for more on Dassault Falcon Jet's 50th anniversary celebration. And with that, we are adjourned.